Let's build the prettiest blue and white gaming PC for just $1,300. Today we're using the white HYTE Y40 case and the gorgeous Yeston Sakura GPU. And we've got a bunch of Yeston fans to match. Let's get into it. Today we have the Asus Prime B650M motherboard. This is from a Micro Center bundle actually. This motherboard, the AMD Ryzen 5 7600X, and a set of RAM for only $300, but I ended up getting a different set of RAM for this to match the theme anyways. So this motherboard does have Wi-Fi, so it does come with this Wi-Fi antenna, which you'll need later if you're not using Ethernet. And the IO shield does not come pre-installed, so we're definitely gonna need to take that out. They've got some M.2 standoffs. Whoa. Why does it look like there's so many PCIe slots? I can't remember if, I feel like a normal motherboard only has like 2, but there's like 4. Oh, and it's getting caught in my sweater. So if you guys are building at home, do not wear a sweater because your yarn is going to get stuck in it. Here is the Ryzen 5 7600X CPU. This is an all AMD build, very exciting. So for AMD Ryzen CPUs, there is a triangle at the top left here. And there's also a triangle at the top left of here. So we'll just match those up. They also do have the notch. Oh my gosh. Dude, whenever I install these without nails, it always does that. Be careful though, guys. So now we can close this and this just comes off. If you want to take it off before, you can as well. And as someone in my comments from my last video pointed out, you should hold on to this because if anything ever happens to your motherboard, if you need to send it back for a warranty or RMA purposes, you're going to want to put this cover back on so the pins don't get bent. So hold on to this with the rest of your parts. Don't throw it away. All right, next for RAM, we're going to want the 2nd and 4th slots. So just open these thingies right here. And then today we have this T-Force RAM. Ooh, this is pretty. All right, there it is. This is a DDR5 set since we do have a DDR5 motherboard. And then the way you put in the RAM actually is this sticker right here. The sticker faces the CPU. Now it's time to install the SSD right here, and we do need that standoff, it looks like, since there's no heatsink or anything like pre-installed. So for this motherboard, it just comes in this little baggie. So today I'm using, again, the Predator GM7000 SSD. I love these. This is a 1 terabyte. And since we don't have a heatsink on here, I'm gonna leave this graphene heat spreader on. So we're gonna need to install this standoff on the last hole. I don't know if you guys can see it, but right here. We'll just twist it in with our fingers and install this right here. This heat spreader actually goes on the bottom. All right, and then today I'm using my new Fantic screwdriver. This one has 5 bits, but they're reversible. So it's very compact. The tips are also magnetic and there's a light on it. That's good. Cool. Now let's get the AIO out. That was pretty fast. Definitely hold on to this because you'll need it later. We have the Arctic Frozen Edge 360. And in here, we're gonna be looking for, also first, let me actually read these instructions. I hate reading instructions, but for AMD, okay, let's see. Remove the factory brackets, keep the backplate, install the AMD standoffs, and secure the brackets. Okay. We can do that. Should be pretty easy. All right, so we're gonna take this box out from there. Ooh, upstairs neighbor activities. That is a lot of stuff. This little baggie right here that says AMD is what we're looking for. And then we're gonna want to flip this to the bigger Phillips head and uninstall these. Okay, we are going to take these little pink thingies. These are the little standoffs they're talking about, and put 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a backplate on the back of this. So just make sure when you uninstall that, just don't move this, because if you move it before putting these on, it's gonna fall off. All right, and now we go 1, 2, 3. And these are the screws that they want you to use, by the way. 4. And we'll just screw that in. All right, I would also keep these just in case. Again, just keep it in the safe place where you put that like plastic thingy. Now we're ready to toss the motherboard and everything into the Y40. And this is a Snow White Y40. It definitely takes up way less space than the Y70 and even the Y60. But you still get to vertically mount your GPU, which is a must for the Yeston Sakura. So we're gonna take this panel off and put it somewhere very safe. For this, you need to take the foam out, but if you just try to yank it out, you might end up bending this. So what we're gonna wanna do is there is a screw right here, keeping this riser cable in place. We're gonna go ahead and unscrew that. I think you can technically like take the foam out without doing that, but you just run the risk of bending it, and you're gonna have to unscrew it anyways to put the motherboard in. So there's really no point in just yanking it out. We don't need that. But yeah, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous case. I think all the extra screws and stuff that we need are in the bottom. And this case does come with this one fan installed in the back, and it does match, so it is white. And then they also have one white fan in the bottom here, if you can see that. So that's already pre-installed. I don't believe there's room to fit another one in the bottom since your power supply is gonna go there. Oh, the one thing about these is the cables are not color matched. And you don't get those rubber like cable channel things to hide your cables with the Y40. One thing we don't want to forget is this IO shield. And it only goes in like there's an up and a down. So make sure you don't get that mixed up, I guess. There's like 3 circles right here. Those 3 go in the bottom. The part that's like sticking out goes towards the outside of the case. So we're gonna put this right here and just shove it in. Don't cut yourself. Dude, I don't know if they still do this, but I remember when I was building my first PC on Reddit, they were making this part seem like the scariest part to building a PC, because like apparently you can cut yourself like pretty easily. It should pop in each corner. So I've got one pop. I'm actually scared now too. This is kind of what you get with those more affordable motherboards. They don't come with the IO shield, and technically you don't need this. It's just to keep the dust out. I can't get this last corner in. It's just being so irritating. I'm gonna lay it down and see if that's easier. Oh, did I get it? Yes, I got it. Hardest part of building a PC. Actually, I don't know what the hardest part is. Probably cable management, or like, it's just the most annoying part. The scariest part is probably installing your CPU or turning it on. But I feel like installing your CPU is like the part where if you like really mess it up and bend some pins, like it could actually be bad. For this case, do you have to move any of the standoffs? I think you do. So because this is built with like an ATX motherboard in mind, you might have to move some standoffs. I think there's like 3 that I have to add. I just realized for the last couple of videos, we've been using MATX motherboards for all of them. Oh my gosh. Guys, look what happened. Oh no. They were right. Wait, you guys, the Redditors were right. This has never happened to me before. Oh, I caught myself good. I was like, haha, guys, you know on Reddit, they say this is like the scariest part of building a PC because you can really cut yourself. This is included in the case, which we're gonna use to move the standoffs. Also, I'm back and I put a Band-Aid on my finger. Okay, so you take this and you put it on here, and then we can now use it to unscrew that standoff and screw it back in wherever it needs to go, which is apparently, I think here. I think it's the lower one actually. And there should be one here. So I'm gonna take this one off. Okay, it's kind of hard with that because it's like fat, I guess. So I suppose we'll be using the LTT screwdriver, which is a bit skinnier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think that's all. Okay, so then I think we can install this motherboard into here now. Perfect. there, and then just screw everything in. Dang it, I feel like this was actually a better angle to record it at. So my bad. Basically, we unscrewed these two standoffs and moved them up, and then we stuck this in until it locked. And this is kind of annoying, but it's just gonna have to hang out there for a bit. And then we've got these motherboard screws. It says 18 pieces for motherboard and SSD. And I do like that they've provided some Ziploc bags for this. So we're gonna need 8 of these screws, and then the rest we're just gonna put in the Ziploc. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah! Okay, done with that. We've got some gorgeous waifu fans to match that waifu GPU in the back. Very on theme today. So I'm gonna be uninstalling this HYTE fan that's been pre-installed, but if you want to save money. Okay, so I took that back fan out and I'm about to talk about the Yeston fans I got, but do not, under any circumstances, install the new fan back or you won't be able to install the 360mm radiator on top. I ran into this issue later, so just learn from my mistakes. Oh no, does this not fit with the back fan? Wait, hold on. There's no way, right? I actually got 6, so 3 of them, well, I don't know where I put the other ones. 3 of them are reverse fans and 3 of them are just normal. Comes with, oh, these are RGB, so it comes with the screws, and then it also comes like with a RGB cable pre-attached, fan cable, and you can daisy chain them together. So this one is the reverse fan, I believe. This is what the fan looks like. Yeston. So this one pulls air in this way, because the blades are like this. Does that make sense? It's like a little spoon and it's spooning the air this way. So if it were like this with the back of the spoon showing, that means it's pushing air that way. So that's how you know if it's a reverse fan or a normal fan. And they have this little thingy on it. So pretty. So this is the normal fan and this is the reverse fan. See that? I don't know if you can tell, but the fan blades are just flipped the other way. Normal fan, reverse fan. Normal fan, reverse fan. Yippee! So which one is blowing air towards you guys right now? I feel like Dora. You're right! This one is blowing air towards you right now. Okay, yeah, so this one's gonna go on the side. So those are gonna install right here. There's space for 2 fans there. And then when we do this, we're gonna have to route the cables somewhere like where it's kind of aesthetic. So we'll route it through this little like channel right here. Yeah, just like that. And then same thing for this one. So you can either fit 2 120mm fans here on the side, which is what these Yeston fans are, or you can fit 2 140mm fans. They have the channels to screw both in. If you wanted to look a bit more filled out, I think the 2 140s would be better, but these fans I think only come in 120mm. Okay, one fan has been installed and the second fan. Personally, aesthetically, I feel like the if you get a 280 or 240mm AIO in this case, I would mount it on the side and I think that looks the best, and then just get 3 fans to put on the top. But in this situation, I did get a 360mm AIO, which is better for performance, but it might make the case look just like super filled out on top. So it just depends on preference, like what you prefer. I think aesthetically, putting the AIO on the side looks better, but you just get worse thermals. Oh yeah, and then if you don't have reverse blade fans like I do, you're actually gonna be putting the fans in like backwards. So I have reverse blade fans, so that's why it doesn't look ugly, but if you don't have reverse blade fans, if you want it to intake, it actually has to look, you have to see this ugly side on the front. Okay. Now that that's done, I think the easiest thing to do now is install the power supply so I can plug in all the cables and stuff before the AIO goes in, because there's not much space once that goes in. I picked up the ADATA XPG Core Reactor 2 white 850 watt power supply for this build because it was actually only $100 at the time I was building this, which made it the cheapest white power supply on the market, but it's currently back at $125, so I don't know if it's the most worth it. But I've actually never used one of their power supplies. It comes with stickers. Oh, Mira. The XPG waifu's name is Mira, and they have some other characters as well. There's a quick start guide. Ooh. Oh, this is hefty. Okay, all right, so here's what the cables look like. I'm scared, I hope they look nice. Ooh. Okay, yeah, all the cables are white, and it comes with some screws, silver screws for the power supply, and a plug. You'll need one of these 24-pin cables for your motherboard, one CPU connector, and then our GPU takes two 8-pin. So we're gonna want one PCIe and two PCIe. Oh, and here is that 12-volt high power connector. It's rated for 600 watts and it's white, so it'll match our theme, which is really great. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put the extra cables in here. All right. Wow, this looks pretty nice. Yeah, the nice thing about getting a white power supply is technically don't have to get extensions if you don't want to, but if you still want to get cable extensions, like I feel like the way this branches off just doesn't look that good. So I haven't decided. I probably might still use extensions. Let's plug this in. So this 24-pin, one side splits off into two. That's the side that's going to go into your power supply. So I'm going to route this in a way that makes it like easy to bend. To that channel right here. Perfect. CPU cable. The side that has the fatter like connector part, that goes into the motherboard side. This side goes into the power supply where the thing is skinnier. And that is in the top left. Just plug it in, make sure it clicks. And then I'm just pulling it all the way through so there's no extra cable sticking out at all. For the GPU cables, I am gonna just plug them in, but we're not gonna really route it to the front. This is gonna be on the bottom. 1, 2. All right, so to install this power supply, oh, actually we might not need cable extensions because it's vertically mounted, so you won't see the power connectors anyways. So what I'm actually gonna do though is first, I'm gonna route these cables. There are, do you see these like holes right here? Right here? That's gonna be for the PCIe cables. I'm gonna route those now. And this is gonna be for your GPU to connect later. Okay, and then now, I'm gonna connect those other cables from earlier into this power supply. This is the 24-pin for the motherboard, and then the other 24-pin cable, or the other half of it. And then this is for the CPU. That just goes right here. Make sure these are plugged in all the way, guys. They should click when the thingy like latches on it. Now, make sure this fan faces the bottom because you don't want it blowing air into your PC, you want it blowing out. So face it into the bottom and then just slide it in here and match up. There's gonna be like 4 holes here. So just match that up and then we're gonna screw that in using these 4 silver screws that came with the power supply. Okay, all done with the power supply. That was easy. Now we're installing the AIO. We have the Thermalright Frozen Edge 360 AIO here today. I'm hoping the fans aren't pre-installed. The fans are pre-installed, which is nice. Props to them, but we will be uninstalling them. Yes, it actually does have an AIO too, so low-key, like maybe I should have just used that. But I didn't like how it had the waifu on it. We're gonna have to flip these fans. This is what the stock fans look like. We have an electric screwdriver, so it's gonna go by so fast. I wonder if you can buy AIOs like just without any fans? Because I feel like a lot of people just get their own anyways. Let's get rid of these. These are quite nice though. All right. And also, because we've installed 2 reverse fans and 1 normal fan, we do have a mismatch of them. But since the AIO is on top, you can't actually see which direction the fans are facing. So I am still gonna install all of them in the exhausting position. So, which means this fan will need to be upside down. These fans are so adorable. They should come out with pink ones. Like normally I feel like this would annoy me, but lately I've been thinking a lot about just how lucky I am that I get to pursue this full time. This is honestly like, building PCs is super fun to me, especially just like the customization aspect of it, and also helping people build their dream PCs and like teaching people what to do, because this hobby isn't the most easy to get into, and like there's a lot to learn. So yeah, I've just been really enjoying like recommending some of my favorite products, going on the hunt for aesthetic and good products, and also like making these videos for you guys has been super fun. So I feel super lucky that I get to do it full time now. And hopefully I can help you guys avoid making some mistakes that I made, just like cutting my finger. That's actually so funny, you guys. I just realized too that the motherboard in here is an Asus Prime motherboard. And I feel like every time I use an Asus Prime motherboard, I end up cutting myself, but it's usually on the heat sinks of the motherboard. And I thought I was safe this time because this motherboard doesn't have those like jagged heat sinks that the Prime like Z790s do, but I ended up cutting myself on the IO shield anyways. Basically, ball out on your PC parts, otherwise you might get hurt. Just kidding. Just be more careful. I'm honestly so careless when it comes to this. Also, I feel like the more you use PC parts, the more you realize like it's really not that serious. Like outside of motherboard pins, I feel like it's really hard to break something. Oopsie. Yeah, literally just as I was saying. So now that's all done. La 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 la. This just connects to your motherboard via, there's an RGB cable and a fan control cable. So we actually didn't need the SATA cable that I set aside, so we can put that away. We've got a ton of cable management to do though. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is manage some of these cables. And if you do have more budget, I definitely recommend getting some fans. Honestly, they actually might cost the same if you get those knockoff Lanley fans off of Amazon. And those just like daisy chain together. So you only need one cable per set of fans, which is super nice. We need to take this lid off. So I'm just gonna pull that. And now we can install the AIO on top here. The next thing we're gonna wanna do is actually untie these. I'm gonna plug this into the motherboard because once the radiator is screwed in, it's gonna be really hard to do that. Put this in. Oh no, does this not fit with the back fan? Wait, hold on. There's no way, right? I might need to take it out and then maybe I can remount it after. Well, that's annoying. Now that this is installed here, or it's not installed yet, but we're gonna screw it on now. And we're just gonna screw the screws on here. Here's the thermal paste included with the AIO, and then they also include these screws, which are to screw this thing into the case. They include a ton, but you don't actually need to use all of them. So I do 4, and then I usually just do 2 random ones in the middle. Like if you are really worried about it, you can do more, but. And then go ahead and tighten these if you haven't already. Oh my gosh, it's actually just so tight. I'll show you guys once this is installed, but I almost don't even need to screw it in because it's being held tightly. That's actually crazy how well this fits. Time to install the AIO. We've got the thermal paste right here. And we're just gonna make a dot. And then if you're using like an Intel CPU, you can also just do like a line. I think that's enough. All right, I'm pretty sure that's enough. And then we're gonna wanna peel this, install that. The logo, oh yeah, it needs to go like this pretty much. You basically have to just press hella hard. I think it finally worked. Oh my god. That was so difficult. All right, and then now all we'll do is a ton of cable management. Oh geez. Cable management. One of the downsides to using these fans is, yeah, what the heck? So we're gonna have to manage these. I think I'm gonna do it off camera because I just can't. I can't. Actually, I lied. I will show you guys, but basically each fan has a like female and a male, I guess. You plug that in, and then now you go on to the next one, and you keep doing that until you have no more fans, and then you plug the final one into the motherboard. So this is all the AIO fans. Yeah, but that's how you do it. And then same for the RGB cables. I'm gonna take this and plug it into the motherboard. I don't know if you can see it. Well, I know you can, but it goes up here on the top right. I don't know, no matter which way I do this, it's gonna be really ugly. And here she is. It could definitely be better. It could definitely be better. All right, so this RGB thing is for the GPU. It came in the box for the GPU, and we're just gonna plug this in the top left right here. I'm gonna be so careful with these RGB headers because I just bent the fuck out of mine. Oh my gosh, we're pretty much done. Guys, I did this whole cable management part and my camera freaking overheated, so it didn't record anything. So I'm just going to use this to illustrate, all right? So in terms of the power supply cables, your 24-pin giant massive connector here is gonna go right here, okay? And then make sure it's plugged in all the way. And then let's see, and your CPU cable, on the cable itself, on the connector, it might say CPU or it might say EPS, but it's not to be confused with the GPU cable, okay? So this one, the one we're looking for, if it breaks apart, it's gonna be 4 and 4, okay? Not 6 and 2, like it's right here. It's gonna look like this. You're gonna know which one it is, okay? It's going to plug in right here. Oops, in the one that has 8 holes, okay? You're gonna plug this in there. Now if you have a second cable for your PSU, you can plug in here, but you don't actually need this. So these are gonna be the cables that come off of your case. I don't have photos, so I've picked up this article. So these are the cables that I said were black and not white earlier. So for the front panel cable, it says front panel on it here. You see that? All right, that is going to go right here in the bottom right. That's gonna be this thing right here. This connector right here. And this is what controls your power button on your case. So if you forget to plug this in and then you try to hit the power button, obviously it's not gonna turn on, okay? Okay, this one has a couple. So we'll first talk about this big blue one here. This one is one of the front panel USB connectors. And if you'll notice, there's like a tab on it. It's not perfectly symmetrical. So the tab part goes right here in that gap. So you can only plug it in one way, okay? And that goes right here. And then this thing looks black, but this is actually like a cover. This part of it is a cover. So you need to take that cover off and it will reveal like a silver looking thing. A silver looking connector, and that plugs in right here, right under where we plugged in the blue one. It goes right here, okay? And this one also doesn't go in either way. So if you try to plug it in and it doesn't click nice, then that means you have to flip it. All right, and then the last one, this is the front panel audio connector, and you only really need this if you're plugging like an aux cable into the front of your case, which a lot of people never do. Like I've never had to use this, but if for some reason you do need it, or you just want to plug everything in, it goes right here. All right, so that goes right here. And then we still have some more stuff, like for example, the fan connector that came off of the AIO cooler. Let me find a good image for that. Okay, so it's kind of like this, except the one coming off your cooler, it's not gonna split. It's not gonna have, it's just gonna be one cable, right? And if you'll notice, the connector has like a tab on it, and that just helps you know which way you're plugging it in. So you have to match up the tab to whatever the tab is on the motherboard to plug it in properly. So the one coming off the cooler, the one coming off the pump from your AIO, that cable you're gonna wanna plug into CPU fan, the one on top. And you're gonna wanna do that because a lot of BIOS, a lot of PC softwares will detect whether there's something plugged into this top one that says CPU fan. And if there's not something plugged in there, it's gonna throw you an error because they wanna make sure you have a CPU cooler. And if for some reason you did plug it into another one, there is a way to bypass that setting in BIOS, but it's just easier if you just plug it in here. And then in the back, we daisy chained all of those fans, remember? All of those fans from like the case and stuff, using one of these like daisy chain thingy mabobs. So that actually goes, you can plug that into CPU opt. You can plug that into CPU opt right here, the one under it. If you wanna get really like precise with it, you would daisy chain all of the 3 fans on the AIO and then plug that into CPU opt. And then you're gonna go ahead and daisy chain the side fans and all the chassis fans. And you can plug that in here in the bottom. So you can use either of these, there's no difference. And if for some reason you still need more fan headers, there is one more right here. All right, so that's all your fan connections. But what about the RGB cables? All right, there's actually 3 RGB headers here. Notice, oh my God, that's so big. If you'll notice, there's 3 holes. So you wanna plug the whole side into the motherboard. All right, there's 3 holes, so make sure you don't plug it in. Some people might get confused with this kind of RGB header. It's not this one. It's not this one. And it's also not this. It's not that, okay? It's this one, yes. This ARGB header all the way at the bottom. And there's 2 up here too, all right? So you can daisy chain all of your fan RGBs to these, and then if it's easy, or if you need another one, you can connect the GPU RGB cable here. And that should cover everything. If for some reason you have USB devices, like say you bought a Kraken AIO or something, you would connect the USB connector here. Now all there pretty much is left to do is install the GPU. This one, we're just gonna pull this like plastic cover off of here. Open the tab on the motherboard. Go ahead and insert this right here. And that's in. Now we're gonna have to screw that in. Our beautiful Yeston Sakura GPU. She's so pretty. Take this protector off. Oh, we actually have to unscrew. This is a double slot card, so we're gonna unscrew the closest two. Now it's time to install this gorgeous GPU. Oh, it's kind of hard to install it this way, but I will do my best. This is what the back looks like. So gorgeous. It also smells like flowers. It like actually smells like perfume. Oh, don't forget to open this latch right here. Let's move these cables, like get out of the way. This is a bit difficult. Press down. Wow, it's so pretty. So these AIO tubes are super annoying, but essentially, god damn. Now don't forget to connect this little RGB cable. Oh, there it is. Okay. Definitely need one more zip tie. Oh my gosh, you guys, we're pretty much done. I just need to screw in the GPU. All right, yes, that's all done. Ow, my finger still kind of hurts. So now it's pretty much just time to put the panels back on, back panel on, the cable management. Trust me guys, you just don't want to see it. Yippee! Oh my gosh. She's done, and she looks stunning. Like, it looks really good, you guys. Okay, this is not satisfying. Oh my!
Superwoman.
not like that one bit. Ooh. Benchmarking Fragpunk. This game looks like CS. Oh wow, the Fragpunk benchmarking tool is actually like really cool. What the heck? This was on 1080p, epic settings, 379 frames per second. High settings 1080p with FSR. We're at like 100 FPS. Like 100 FPS on high. We're on low settings now. Wait, it's still like only 120 on low settings? Yeah, it's still like 120 on low. High. Ray tracing off. Alright, we're getting, oh, it is really 120 FPS. Infinity Mickey on low settings. It looks really bad on low settings, like the textures. We're getting 140 FPS, and then on ultra settings, we're getting like 30 FPS less. It's like around 100 FPS. FSR 3 frame gen off. High settings with ray tracing on, okay? High settings with ray tracing on. At high settings, oof. She's struggling a bit. Averaging like 70 FPS. Yeah, it's a bit laggy. Ooh. I mean, it's still playable. Let's see. What if we go ultra? Now we're down to like 60 FPS. Yeah, it's a bit laggy. Alright, what if we do ultra settings with ray tracing off? It's performing a bit better. Not noticing like too much of a difference, honestly. This is ultra settings, frame gen on, ray tracing on. Before it was, oh wow. I'm very consistent. Oof, it's a bit laggy. Oh my gosh, did you see that drop? That was insane. You guys, I'm so happy with how this build came out. It's so pretty. And honestly, the white Y40, like, kind of almost looks blue with this color scheme, but I think it looks super nice. Let me know what other color schemes I should do down in the comments, and thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Subscribe for more aesthetic PC builds.